Chris Brown is unhinged. When looking at Karrueche's social media, you'll see that when she posted a photo of herself with another man, he decided to go and comment, saying, "No shade, boo, but please style him. He looks like he's shopping off a mannequin and trying to bargain with the sales manager. Retired wrestler Spanx, I'm effing around, God bless. No shade, just minor." So he's clearly upset and very bothered that his ex has moved on. It's just really embarrassing how he operates. I mean, even when he was in the mix of dating Karrueche, he actually released a song which was about Rihanna, talking about how he wanted Rihanna back in his life when he's already in a new relationship with Karrueche, who he can't seem to get over her either. So he just wants it all. The song is titled She Ain't You, which sounds terrible for Karrueche because it's like, wait, so I'm not her, I can never be her. He sings, "You make it hard for me to see somebody else. I'm calling her your name. Yeah, it's messed up because I'm thinking about you. It's not your fault, babe. I never wanted us to break up. No, it's not this way, but you don't understand it, girl. When she touches me, I'm wishing that it were your hands. When I'm with her, it's only about the sex. With you, I had a bad romance, and if I could trade her in, I would, because nobody compares to you, Rihanna." He doesn't say Rihanna, but he might as well. He goes on to say, "Every day that I'm with her, all I want is you. I want to leave, but I'm afraid that you don't even feel the same. And now I realize she's not you." The chorus goes like, "Oh, na, na, oh, na, na." Kind of like how Rihanna's song, "What's My Name" goes. She's like, "Oh, na, na, what's my name? What's my name? What's my name?" Wendy Williams, who we love. Why did I almost say rest in peace? Oh, knock on wood. We do not want any rest in peace out here. But Wendy, we love her. And she actually has covered Chris Brown before and talking about Karrueche and how Chris Brown just wouldn't leave her alone.
So Karrueche's very upset about all this. And Chris just will not stop bothering her. So finally, Karrueche decides, I'm leaving the club. TMZ got the footage of Chris following Karrueche out of the club and forcing his way into her Uber car. Crazy. So Karrueche's getting in an Uber with her friends. Chris is badgering her. And Karrueche's telling her, "Chris, leave us alone, leave us alone." Chris pushes one of her friends out of the way and gets in the Uber. And the reason that Karrueche didn't complain about that is because she didn't want to make any more of a scene than that was already going on. So after Karrueche does finish hanging out with her friends, she decides to go back to her house, where all night long she's hearing, "Where you at? Where you at?" To the point where the neighbors had to call the cops.
Karrueche then made a statement that Chris Brown, her ex, was stalking her, which is pretty valid. I mean, he seems like he is stalking her. Chris Brown is, of course, super impulsive, and he decided to reply via Snapchat. Here is a clip of his messy reply.
"If I love you, ain't nobody gonna have you. I'm gonna make you miserable. I'm gonna chase that out. I'm gonna chase your ass around. And it's done. Ladies, y'all ever dealt with a that just be like blowing y'all shit up, hopping gates, stalking the out you, getting on your nerves? Well, I'm one of them. If I love you, ain't nobody gonna have you. That."
He's literally scary. I feel like any woman that goes on a date with Chris Brown watched this episode before just to understand the danger that you could be in. Now we're going to go through a bunch of other crimes that he's been involved in, and I really want you guys to listen to what I'm saying here in the sense of like, don't go numb to it. I feel like when we hear so many crimes over and over again, we're just like, oh yeah, it's just like we get used to it. Don't let this desensitize you. In 2013, he was arrested for felony assault. It happened in Washington, D.C., where I'm actually from and where I'll be going very soon. Well, Virginia, D.C. It's like I'm from the area where it's like 20 minutes to D.C. So, you know, D.C. is the big city. That's what we claim. But he and his bodyguard, Christopher, were involved in a physical altercation with two men outside the W Hotel. According to police, a spokeswoman said that Chris and his bodyguard spent 36 hours in jail. This happened about 4:30 in the morning, which why are you guys even up? I'm in bed at like 10 p.m. at the latest. We don't have any details of what led up to this assault or who the man Chris attacked was. I'm assuming it's not a public figure. Ultimately, Chris lost and was ordered to stay 100 yards away from this man, which at this point, he's going to need a whole list of like a Find My Friends app to know where he can and cannot go because all these people he needs to stay away from. In 2013, we saw Chris enter rehab. He voluntarily entered rehab to only be kicked out for violent behavior. Holy crap. So he entered rehab in October, but then was kicked out mid-November because of violence. Chris repeatedly smashed his mother's car window with a rock during a family session, per his probation officer. So he's obviously got some really built up anger towards his family. He was sentenced to 3 months to live in anger management rehab facility. Wow. Because he went into this facility, he had medical staff to go and assess him. Now, I don't know why we learned this information. I'm assuming that maybe his team thinks it's a way to humanize him or to explain some of his behavior, because it's revealed in 2014 he has bipolar and PTSD. Now, the facility actually reported that they believe that his past behavior stemmed from his attempts to self-medicate his troubles, that he never really learned coping skills when it came to his anger, so he would get messed up and then get violent. And I think maybe in this controlled environment he was doing all right, but when March came about, he was kicked out for violating the facility's internal rules. He was also sent to jail for this. The sources claim that Chris was caught having an inappropriate relationship with a female worker at the beginning of the month, but that is not why he was thrown out. As we all know, Chris was previously thrown out of a different facility for throwing a rock at his mom's car. Now, I don't know who this female employee is hooking up with Chris Brown while she's supposed to be working, but we actually never learn why he was kicked out. And I had done my research onto this, like why was he kicked out of the facility? It was not drug or violent related, and it wasn't for the relationship with the woman. And because he was kicked out, though, he then violated his probation for being kicked out, and that's what led to him going to jail. So he didn't commit any crime while in there, but the act of just being kicked out again got him in trouble. Fast forward to May 2015, Chris Brown allegedly hits a man in Las Vegas. Chris was briefly named in a misdemeanor battery case in Las Vegas, where a man claims that Chris hit him after an argument over a basketball game at a resort. The man declined to press charges, but again, it's just so stupid. Like, why is he over here at a resort watching a basketball game and then getting into a fight with someone over it? It's not that serious. Kicking off the new year in 2016, on January 2nd, Chris Brown was investigated by police. Again, in Las Vegas, a woman claims that she was beaten up by Chris and he stole her cell phone during a party at that same resort, the Palms Casino. The alleged victim had been battered by Chris, who at the same time took her cell phone. A verbal altercation took place as the victim was escorted out of the room by private security and into a hallway. 6 months later that same year, there's some shift in Chris's team. Now, this guy named Michael, his manager, was a big part of getting Chris back on track after the Rihanna thing. And you know, like that really awkward clip of him in the red shirt staring at the camera and reading off a teleprompter. Well, Michael was the guy that put that all together, trying to fix his reputation. Michael actually sued Chris. He filed a lawsuit claiming that Chris had violently attacked him in May of that year. Years later, the matter was settled out of court in 2019. I'm assuming that Chris paid him a large sum of money to just go away. And I wonder how many other people have just been paid off for silence. That same year in 2016, Chris was going through it. He was arrested on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon. Following a 9-hour standoff with police at his LA mansion, a woman called 911 claiming that she was threatened with a gun. Now, charges were never filed, which I don't understand that. I mean, how do we pay for the 9-hour standoff with police if, like, we're not going to go charge this man for whatever crime's going on here? In April 2017, Chris then punches a photographer. This happens in Florida, where Chris I've actually never punched anyone or anything in my life before. Actually, that's a lie. When that guy attacked me at the bar in December, I did punch him and I ripped his toupee off. I went in. I'm not a violent person though, but he attacked me. If you guys have not seen that video, go watch my I'm Attacked video. With, like, you can see the cut on my chest or whatever. The alleged victim claimed that Chris attacked him because he was taking photos after Chris arrived at the venue for an after party showing. And again, I don't want you guys to get desensitized because there are so many crimes back to back and he just gets away with them. In 2018, Chris Brown was sued by an unidentified woman for SA. She claimed she was at a party in his home in 2017. The group used alcohol, drugs, threats, and the presence of weapons to intimidate and coerce and force unwilling female guests to perform intimate acts. Kicking off the new year in 2019, he was detained in Paris. Now, these were under potential charges of aggravated RAPE and drug infractions after a woman filed a complaint. Police reported that they detained Chris Brown Brown and 2 other individuals who were charged with these crimes. Chris Brown, of course, denied these claims. The charges were dropped, and he actually filed a defamation lawsuit against the woman. In June 2021, police came to Chris Brown's home because a woman called claiming that she was attacked by a male suspect, that he struck her in the back of the head. When police arrived, Chris Brown was no longer at the home, which is sketchy. He's on the run. That next year, Chris was sued by a woman claiming that he R-worded her and drugged her in Miami, suing him for $20 million, claiming that he did this on a yacht in 2020. The woman also detailed how 2 other encounters with Chris, including an instance in August 2021, where he became irate with her. She would not respond to his advances, his intimate advances, and that's when he got violent. As of recently, Chris Brown and his entourage were accused of beating 4 men backstage after a show in Texas. Quote, the unprovoked violence involved multiple strikes to the plaintiff's head and chest, and ultimately involved stomping on them while they were down. The brutal and violent assault participated in and was directed by Chris Brown severely injured all people involved. Now, most of those lawsuits that I just mentioned to you, they just end up getting settled out of court, which means, yeah, he pays the price financially, but it doesn't stop him from doing it again. He'll just keep making music, keep making more money, and just keep causing chaos. Right now, the makers of Quiet on Set are putting out a documentary all about Chris Brown. This is part of the reason why I wanted to make this video. The documentary, A History of Violence, will feature a testimony from an anonymous new victim who has not come forward publicly yet. We don't actually know if this person's identity will be revealed in the documentary. I'm assuming so, but let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer together.
For the young ladies, I mean, what's up, man? You got a girl or what?
Nah, I'm keeping my options open, so y'all be checking for me, you know what I'm saying?
Oh. Thank you so much. That's the type of stuff will get you in trouble.
Well, true. It reads on the screen, most domestic violence offenders do not receive jail time. Well, look at Chris Brown, Exhibit A.
Chris Brown is the name. Get used to that right there.
Chris Brown's an amazing and talented musician, but let's call a thing a thing. He's an abuser of women, consistently, unapologetically.
Oh my God! Mom, how's it feel? You feel like a man?
Did Chris pull a gun on that girl?
When is your hearing for your restraining order?
There's a long list of various different women.
Being pretty upset. Are you sure you don't really call victims advocates, have them come talk to you?
Who've accused Chris Brown of assaulting them.
Singer Chris Brown has been detained in an alleged case of rape.
He has an audience full of assault deniers.
I have to admit, and like no hate to anyone who watches my stuff, anytime I've covered Chris Brown, I've gotten a lot of people who come after me. And it's interesting like how we pick and choose who we don't like. It isn't so fascinating how everyone picks and chooses which celebrities are cool or not. Like if this one R words and attacks other people, it doesn't matter. Like I could go on a rant. I sound like HRH. I'm like, how do you guys just like make it make sense? I mean, I get it. No, I don't actually get it at all. Like, please comment below. Like, is it just your devout worship of this man that makes him somewhat ungodly? And not you guys know who I'm actually talking to, the ones that make up stories about me trying to threaten me, which I've had this recently with my Melanie Martinez video. Someone made a really disgusting story up about me because they're a fan of Melanie Martinez. Well, screw them.
No, I have not spoken about this matter publicly, but that's the only way that he can be stopped.
We will be watching. Thank you for watching this clip from the Let's Get Into It podcast. To view the full episode, visit the link listed below.